Well, thousands of people forming a line to try and stop a pipeline. Environmentalists protesting the Keystone project, saying it's a big pollution risk. But supporters saying the pipeline between Canada and the Gulf of Mexico would actually create a lot of jobs. And even some unions are for it. So that has the president caught in the middle. And now reports he could put that decision off until after Election Day. Republican Joe Barton says, you know what, it's time to forget politics and time to approve this thing to get people working. So, sir, we've got environmentalists saying, you know what, do not do the pipeline. It'll just create more spills. You know, do you agree with that assessment?
I don't agree with that. If President Obama decides to put it off till after his election, it'll be a different president that makes it. This pipeline will create 20,000 to 30,000 jobs. It's an absolutely no-brainer. Even the Hillary Clinton State Department says it makes a good deal. I'm not aware of any labor union that doesn't support the pipeline. It would bring about 700,000 barrels of oil per day, Canada into the United States, bring it down to the Gulf Coast, where we already have the refineries and the petrochemical plants. So I don't see what the issue is. There are probably a dozen pipelines that go through my congressional district, no major problems. This thing should have been approved 3 years ago. They've drugged their feet for the last 3 years. We ought to say yes, and let's get started.
Congressman, here's the opposition. I mean, there were corroded pipelines on the northern slope of Alaska, leaking over 200,000 gallons of crude oil in 2006. We had a pipeline spill in Marshall, Michigan, releasing 819,000 gallons of crude oil into the Kalamazoo River. This is in 2010. These are estimates. Also, the pipeline spill in 2011 in the Yellowstone River. Taken as a whole, the amount of gallons spilled, how does it compare to what we see in tanker spills? And how does it compare to the amount of oil and liquid energy that's being pumped through the pipelines, comparatively speaking?
We use about 20 million barrels, which is 40 a barrel is 40 gallons, so we use 20 million barrels of oil per day. Are there accidents occasionally? Yes. But they're very small in comparison. The biggest spill, and you just alluded to it, was a Prudhoe Bay spill, the Valdez up in Alaska, and then we've had the well blowout down in the Gulf of Mexico last year. But by and large, our pipeline system is very safe, very efficient, and very well maintained. This would be a state-of-the-art pipeline with all the latest in safety gear on it. And monitoring gear.
Yeah, you know,
I really don't think that'd be a problem.
The argument is, too, that the spills are down 77%. I saw one stat from the 70s, and that's an idea. You know, maybe the government regulations, I know you'll hate to say this, or environmental regulations are actually working, right?
Well, I think that some of the improvements we've had several pipeline safety reauthorization bills the last 10 years, one of whom I was the author of. I think they have made improvements. That's another reason to say yes on the Keystone Pipeline.